I having a technical issue. Please bear with me. All right, that's much better. Come, let us explore trying too hard to meditate. We're going to explore this by working with the following text, Song of Mahamudra, written by Tilopa, translated by Chang, adapted and amplified by yours truly. Please chant with me. Whoever clings to my seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, or imagining, sees not the truth of what is beyond the mind. Whoever strives to practice the Buddha's Dharma teachings finds not the truth beyond practice. For they are so engrossed with the finger, they are oblivious to them. They are oblivious of the moon to which it points. Anybody who was a child during the 70s is probably familiar with the Bruce Lee's classic movie, Enter the Dragon. At one point, he is thoroughly abusing a student, and when at last the student kicks properly, Bruce Lee says, "Good, now tell me, how did it feel? Let me think." And then Bruce Lee responds, "Do not think, feel. It is like a finger pointing to the moon. Do not gaze at the finger lest you miss all that celestial glory." Needless to say, way back in the 70s, when I was still in junior high, I did not really get what was going on. I kind of felt bad for the student Bruce Lee was tormenting. But I hope to be able to explain this to you tonight. So, the operative word here is cling and strive. So, to dive deeper, I'm going to turn to a different page. So, let's see here. Going to click this button. Okay. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but that's kind of vague. Since the Neolithic Revolution, the majority of societies have been training the majority of people not to be flexible, but instead to be rigid, not to be loving, but instead to be fearful, not to be rational, but instead to be superstitious, not to be laid back, but instead to be controlling. Similarly, they've taught them not to be egalitarian, but elitist, not to be lucid, but cryptic, not to be cooperative, but competitive, not to be kind, but cruel. And so, invariably, when people turn to spirituality, they bring these tendencies with them. They bring the rigidity, and the superstitions, and the fear, and the controlling tendencies with them. When we bring our controlling tendencies into meditation, we might strive to concentrate or analyze. In fact, we might have been told to focus or analyze. Now, the only discrete pathways that can give us those behaviors are the ones found in regions such as the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex is pretty cool, but it does fatigue easily, and once it's exhausted, it triggers our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. The more we rely, the more we indulge our rigidity and controlling tendencies and focus and analyze, the more anxious and aggressive we will be. However, there's an end run around such things. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which I'm sure you would agree is the opposite of rigidity, or controlling, or focus, or concentration, or less analysis. Now, there is a similarly, every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are wired to automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, which is divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system is evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. In fact, it helps us to relax and release to such a degree that what we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less permanent, and less defining. So the path of the Buddha is not one of the active analysis of renunciation or impermanence or not self. Au contraire, it's the effortless and gentle and visceral realization of these things that comes simply from living in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation and our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system. By cooperating with these mechanisms that are already present, we can rapidly not only practice the Buddha's path, but master it in a ridiculously short period of time. This concludes our opening lesson. I would very much like to turn our attention now towards the main practice, which is group meditation. It is Ahsoka Tano Thursday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So we turn our attention now to the latest iteration of the practice text or sadhana, known as easy meditation. Please chant with me. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. We come now to the first quarter of this evening's mindful crease counting meditation. Therefore, let us begin by reviewing a bit of the old Bengali crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 8 sets, and you've got 96 inhalations. You could count those 8 sets on your left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. How are we going to keep track of the first of 4 quarters? Simple. We're going to rest the great knuckle at the base of the right little finger, upon the tip of the left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. What is the essence of mindfulness? When we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. What is the essence of meditation? When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and mentally release what we noticed during our previous inhalation. To the point that it fleetingly feels less tantalizing, less permanent, and even less defining. So together as a team, let us practice right now, but please remember the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, please type your question in great detail in the chat window. Please chant with me. Oopsie, I'm on the wrong verse. Okay. One could cut cleanly through the root of mind and notice with naked vulnerability. One could thus break away from each tyranny of duality and remain at ease. So with each inhalation, we cannot help but notice with profound vulnerability. With each exhalation, we relax, and as such release the tyranny of duality, the tyranny of pushing and pulling, and relax into ease. Welcome to the second quarter of this evening's mindful crease counting meditation. To keep track of this second quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our laps. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. When we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we cannot help but vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we cannot help but physically relax and mentally release into the non-graspable nature of that which we noticed during our inhalation. Good evening. Welcome aboard. Oopsie, wrong button. We're going to chant the 21st verse of Tilopa's Song of Mahamudra. By the 21st verse, I mean the 22nd verse. One can neither give nor take, but instead remain natural. For the great seal of Mahamudra's awareness and release is beyond the tyranny of all acceptance and rejection. So it's easy enough to discuss the duality of pulling and pushing, desiring and dreading. The question is, how do we transcend it? Well, we can't transcend the actual mechanism of desire and dread. That's baked into the cake of our underbrain. What we can transcend is the control that these impulses exert over our choices and our utterances and our deeds. We do not do that. We do not experience freedom through rigidity or repression or belief, but by exercising, by noticing in harmony with our inhalation and relaxing in harmony with our exhalation, we are able to process all the desires and dreads we experience. Welcome to this evening's third quarter of mindful crease counting meditation. We could keep track of this quarter by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the heart region of our chest. What is the essence of mindfulness? Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we cannot help but vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. And the essence of meditation is as follows. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we cannot help but physically relax and mentally release what we noticed during our previous inhalation. So together as a team, let us practice right now, and please remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, please type your question in great detail in the chat window. Together let us chant the 23rd verse of Tilopa's Song of Mahamudra. Since venerable, passive, visceral, random, and fleeting awareness could feel this non-graspable as if it were not born, it could neither be obstructed nor soiled. Resting in this unborn realm, all appearances could dissolve into the Buddha's ultimate Dharma teaching of non-graspability. Thus all competitiveness and pride could vanish into naught. So this deserves some elaboration. The South Indian Buddhist saint Nagarjuna explained that there were two truths, the conventional and the ultimate. What we experience as we notice during our inhalation, and what we experience as we relax during our exhalation. So it's said that as we relax into our exhalation, whatever we experienced during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. It could feel as if it was as non-graspable as the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could feel tantalizing to the eye, could be non-graspable to the hand. So, sights could be appearing yet non-graspable, sounds could be resounding yet non-graspable, sensations could be sensual yet non-graspable, flavors could be delicious yet non-graspable, scents could be fragrant yet non-graspable. That's the whole idea right there. Make our way back to the fourth quarter of mindful crease counting meditation. To keep track of the fourth quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the crown region of our head. What is the essence of mindfulness? As we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. What is the essence of meditation? Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to both physically relax and mentally release what it is we noticed during our previous inhalation. Let's practice together right now, and remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.